What is love? Difficult question, isn't it? We all have very different definitions of love. We all know love as something which is very, very different, and which is versions of it is very, very different in our minds. So, where are we getting these definitions of love? Where do we get to see what is love? Visual medium, mostly movies, right? Any sort of visual medium is where we get to see and understand what exactly is love. We are so heavily influenced by these picture perfect moments, the perfect definition of love, which more often than not includes sacrifice, compromise, giving yourself up completely to the other person, which is where all of us have the wrong idea of love. More often than not, this definition of love doesn't even include a part called self love, because the definition of love means you have to completely compromise, you have to completely give up, you have to forget who you are, then only you will be loved. Is the definition that we have all learned growing up. Is it true though? When it is so difficult to define love, how difficult do you think it is to define self love? For example, what do we know which is self love? Where are we getting the idea of self love? Mostly self love is used by marketing people when they're trying to sell you some stuff. Their agenda is to sell you that stuff. So they are obviously going to say that, a spa package or costly dresses or even diamonds are self love. Of course, that's what we see when we see in the ads. But is that self love? Listen into this episode to understand more about self love and, in turn, love. Hello, my dear friend. My name is Rohini, and welcome to my podcast, Believe in Yourself with Rohini. I'm a transformation coach, an empowerment coach, a life and an image coach. I don many hats in a day, but the most satisfying one is where I help people realize the power of believing in themselves. So, what do you think love is? I would love to know. But it might change after understanding today's episode, after you listen to today's episode, right? Many of us have the wrong idea of what exactly is self love. So, we all know where it is coming from, we all know what it is. But then, what is the right idea? What is love? What exactly love should look like? When you have the wrong idea of love or self love, you are including that wrong idea in everything that you do on a day-to-day basis, giving the wrong impression, leading you towards the wrong things in life. Right? So let's set the expectations right about self-love today, and in turn, you can go and do it for your love as well. Right? So, what do we expect from someone we are close to? It might be a friend, a parent, a partner, a spouse. Someone we love, what do we expect from them? Of course, ignoring all the materialistic things that we normally talk about, I'm going to talk about more from a mental and an emotional standpoint here. What do we expect? We want them to understand us. We want them to understand our needs, our wants, and act accordingly. We want them to hold our hands and say, yeah, I'm here. Go through this tough time. When times are easy, we don't normally remember people, or we don't normally observe, or people are very easily drawn to us as well. But when times get tough, who's standing next to you? Who is saying, come on, you can do this? That's where your love lies. That's who you should actually be paying more attention to. Right? Someone who trusts us and not judges. This is a huge, huge, huge big part. because most of the relationships that we think is love in today's life involves a bigger level of, you know, not trusting each other and judging. A lot and lot of judging. Basically, accepting us as who we are is something that all of us dream about, right? Accepting me as who I am, how I am. Somebody needs to accept that. Then that is what I would consider love, right? So show up whenever you need. Stop making you feel guilty or stop blaming you. That is a big part, because most of the time when conflicts arise in a loving situation, people start blaming you. People start blaming each other. It becomes a fighting match instead of, figuring out what went wrong. Understanding our feelings, understanding our fears, and help us navigate. These are some of the rough things that we normally expect from the people we love, right? If someone does all these things, we say that is a pretty damn good partner who's very supportive, who is doing all these things, who's there for you when things are tough, who's not blaming you, who's accepting you as you are, who's not judging. Pretty damn good love story that would make. But you know why we don't see this in media, so to speak, or even in today's social media? It doesn't look good. And visual media wants things that look good. These things do not look good on screen. They do not necessarily make for a interesting story, so to speak. Right? So all these elements are ignored, and most of the time love is romanticized and put into a different context altogether, and these things are forgotten. And when young people are searching for love, young people are finding love, or for a partner, so to speak, they don't consider these things, which is where the problem lies going ahead. Now let's ask the difficult question here. We have set the parameters for what is love, right? So the difficult question I'm going to ask you right now is, are you doing all these things for yourself? Whatever you are expecting from someone else, understanding yourself, understanding your wants and needs, accepting yourself as who you are, stop blaming you, stop judging you, and giving you the fair chance for everything in life and standing behind you no matter what, no matter even if the times are tough. Are you doing this for yourself? How many times do we ourselves do these things? Tell me. You criticize yourself more than anyone. How many times do you say, this is all my fault, or, this didn't go good. I know, I screwed up. I messed up. You underestimate yourself. You say, no, I can't do this. And so often give up so easily. You don't trust yourself. Do you trust yourself to finish something that you started? As soon as some slight doubt creeps in, you think of giving up. It's all of us. It's all of us are doing all these things. Think of giving up. You think of feeling, oh my God, they think I can't do this. Probably I can't. Oh, there is some little problem. No. I can't do this. Leave it. Guilt train. I can't even stop talking about guilt train, especially as women. How much do we feel guilty in life? If we expect someone else to not make us feel guilty, we should stop that for ourselves. You make decisions, you take priorities, you set up your plans, and then you start guilty for not doing the things that you should be doing. Don't do that. Don't stop feeling guilty for yourself. Do the things that you want to do, but stop feeling guilty. Stop taking you through the guilt train, you know? Once the guilt train starts in our mind, it starts spiraling. We start feeling guilty about one thing, then you add two more things to that. It happens. We should stop doing these things. You give up on yourself so easily. Whenever there is tough times, do you stand and say, I can face this, I'm going to do whatever it is necessary? Or do you say, why is somebody not doing something? Why is somebody else not coming and trying to do things? Who are you with when there is tough times? Are you with yourself? Are you supporting yourself? Are you doing everything that is necessary and needed at that point of time? Whenever there is a new relationship starting, we all expect, what? I can't meet him and get married in next 1 month, 2 months, 6 months. I need time. Why do you need time? You need time to understand the person. You need time to understand whether, and to understand how much of these things that you are compatible with, how much of things that you want to understand this person, to know whether you can spend the rest of your life with them. But you know who you are going to spend the rest of your life with, really and actually? You, yourself. So, when all of this put into context, have you spent any real time understanding yourself? Real time understanding what you're thinking, why you're thinking, why is the way you're thinking the way it is? Where is it coming from? Where is it originating from? When you do something automatically without thinking in an autopilot mode, why are you doing that? What all went through in your mind, the signals that went through to make that happen? What are your fears? How are you handling these fears? Where are you feeling guilty? What are you feeling guilty about? And why is it? Why is it that you go through this routine? Why? What is the stage where you don't trust yourself? What are the phases or different faces of you that you don't like, or that you outright refuse? There are different phases of us. There are different parts of us that we don't like at all. But are you denying it? Most of us do. Are you denying it? Are you not revealing its existence? Are you ashamed to talk about it? These are the parts we need to think about when you talk about the real self love. So, what exactly is the real self love? I've given you a pretty much good idea of what exactly is self love and how you have to deal with it. Uh, Let me just quickly summarize it and give you the gist of what it is. Basically, what you need to do to earn your own love, what you need to do to say, yes, I love myself, are these things. Treat yourself the way you want someone else to treat you. Treat yourself, give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Give yourself priority sometimes. We do things for everybody else, but when it comes to doing things for ourselves, we think, am I being selfish? No, you're not. Selfish is very different from self love. I'm going to come to that at the end of this podcast. Let me just sum up what exactly is self love, right? So, trust yourself to know what is right, what is wrong. Do you trust, or do you depend on others? Do not judge yourself. Whenever there is something that you know you're not doing right, instead of giving yourself room for growth, instead of giving yourself the tools necessary to grow, the tools necessary to improve, you judge yourself. You think, you know what, I can't do this. So maybe someone else might be able to do a better job of this. I'm not denying that that might be true at certain points, but if it really matters to you, give yourself the room. Understand yourself well enough to do this for you, where you know what is your strength, what is your weakness, what you want to do, and what you can do and cannot do. Be there for yourself when needed. In tough times, stand up for yourself. When there is someone who is, criticizing you, who is saying wrong things about you, be brave enough to go and correct them. Be brave enough to go and tell them that, you know what, this is not me. Show people who you are through your actions. Show people who you are through what you do. Be there for yourself and cheer yourself when you feel down. We all feel down. We all have those down phases. Cheer yourself. Come on, you can do this. Get up, get up. It's okay. It's okay. Instead of putting yourself down, you know what? It's okay. I can't anyways do this. Let's go sleep. Right? So cheer yourself. Nobody is going to come and cheer for you. You have to do it for yourself. Do what makes you feel good and stop feeling guilty for it. Whenever, especially with women, we have this big drive to, whenever we take some time for ourselves, whenever we start doing something that feels good for us, we start feeling guilty. We feel like, you know what, I shouldn't be doing this. This is generations of belief that has been passed on to us, which makes us feel this way. Break the cycle. Don't pass it on to your next generation. Don't make them feel guilty for doing things for themselves. If we can't do most of these things for ourselves, we cannot expect someone else also to do these things for ourselves. Whatever we do for ourselves, whether it is being compassionate, stop feeling guilty, stop judging yourself, being on your side, if we don't do it, nobody else can do it. That is the thing. If you're not compassionate for yourself, if you're not feeling good towards yourself, nobody else, or no matter how many good words they tell you, you're not going to believe them. You're not going to feel good. So the self-love you have for yourself is the amount of love that someone else can show you. It's true. That is the gist of self-love. That is the power of self-love. That is what we all need to implement in our lives. That is what we all need to understand. And that is what we all need to come to terms with. I'm going to end this podcast with a small note on self-love and being selfish, because this is the biggest question I get faced day in and day out. People come to me and ask me, you know what, I'm doing this, but people call me selfish. Here is a very small distinction that you can apply to understand what is self-love and what is selfish. I can do this the best way I can, the best of my abilities is self-love. I can do this better than anybody in this world is selfish. I deserve this. I deserve to earn this. I deserve to go on a vacation. I deserve to be at this level. I deserve to buy the things that I want to is self-love. I deserve this and nobody else does. I deserve this before everybody else. I deserve this better than everybody else is selfish. I think you're getting the whole point of being in understanding between self-love and selfish. And all I want to say is, you know what, the opinion that matters, the love, the support that matters in your life is that of yours primarily and not of anybody else's. So understand this, work on yourself. And the only way you can do this, the only way you can start really working on your self-love is by understanding you, is by understanding your patterns, is by understanding, is becoming aware of who you are, is becoming aware of every single point and phase of you and accepting all of you. So part by part, we are going to work on this. There is a lot that needs to be unpacked here. Every episode is going to contain one part of this, and you are going to understand each and every part of this. But this podcast about self-love, I'm going to wrap it up here. Sit and write down 10 ways that you can start supporting yourself. You can start loving yourself. The areas that you need to build trust with yourself, the areas that you need to stop feeling guilty about, and work on all these things. And trust me, your life is going to turn around. Your life is going to change like never before. Your life is going to become what you never thought was possible. So these are the things that we need to start working on. These are the things that we need to start building for ourselves in this life. Thank you, my dear friend, for joining me on today's episode. If you like this episode, do subscribe and share. Connect with me for more questions, queries, or suggestions on Instagram at RohiniBV, or visit my website rohinibv.com for more. And don't forget to join me for the next episode. Till then, live life to the fullest and believe in yourself.